This will be for the con exercise, parallel and perpendicular lines from equation. So I believe the multiple choices on these in this exercise are all the same for each problem. So I'm going to give you some notes for each potential choice. So if the two equations represent the same line, the slope m and the y-intercept b match from one equation to the other. Okay, so you'll have two equations and the slopes are the same and the y-intercepts are the same. So if it's the same line, you're going to have the same equation twice, or one equation is a multiple of the other. Okay, for instance, let's say the equation is x plus y equals 5, and you multiply both sides by 2. You'll have 2x plus 2y equals 10. So I just multiplied each term by 2. And this first equation and this second equation are the same line. One equation is just a multiple of the other one. Okay, if you have distinct parallel lines, the line equations will have the same slope, m, and will have different y-intercepts, b. So distinct parallel lines will, of course, be two separate lines that run parallel to each other. For perpendicular lines, the slopes are the negative reciprocals of each other. So there's two steps in finding the negative reciprocal. You want to flip it, which means take the reciprocal, and then change the plus minus sign. So you just do that to one of the slopes, and if it matches the other slope, then the lines are perpendicular. And finally, intersecting but not perpendicular lines. They have to have different slopes, and the slopes are not negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so for answer choice C, when you take the negative reciprocal, either it's going to match or it doesn't. Okay, as long as the slopes are different and they're not negative reciprocals, they're going to be intersecting but not perpendicular. All right, on to the problems. What do the following two equations represent? So let's see here. So notice this equation on the bottom right here. This is in y equals mx plus b form. And the one on top is in a different form. Okay, so we can't really do that multiplication trick to see if one is a multiple of the other. But we can easily find the slope of this one. We know that the slope m is the number that's times x. So clearly in this one here, the slope is going to be 2/5. All right, and now we just have to find the slope of this line and compare. All right, so I wrote the bottom slope 2/5 off into the corner. Let's solve for the slope here. First, we want to solve for y. We want to get y equals. We have as positive 6x. The opposite is negative 6x. Okay, you want to do that to both sides of the equal sign. So negative 6x on both sides. 6x minus 6x is gone. Bring down your negative 15y. Bring down your equals. And here you have 15 minus 6x. Or you can say negative 6x plus 15. All right, same thing. Again, we're trying to get it into the form of y equals mx plus b. So therefore, I figured I would write the negative 6x before the 15. Okay, but it's really the same thing. Solving for y, we have negative 15 times y. The opposite of times negative 15 is divided by negative 15. You want to do that to both sides. It cancels here. And you want to remember when you have two terms added or subtracted over a common denominator, each one of these is over that denominator. Okay, so we have negative 6x divided by negative 15. And we also have positive 15 divided by negative 15. All right. Negative divided by negative is positive. And also 6 and 15, you can reduce that fraction. They're both divisible by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And we still have the x. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And 15 divided by negative 15 is negative 1. All right. So 2x over 5, that's the same as 2/5 x minus 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I wrote y. That's minus 1. All right, so this is the equation in y equals mx plus b form. All right, y equals mx plus b. Now we see the slope right here, the number that's times x. We see the slope is 2/5. This slope is also 2/5. So it's going to be possible that they're parallel. That's possible. However, we want to make sure they're not the same line. Now I erased the original equation. Let me bring it back and see if it's 2/5 x minus 1. I'm pretty sure it is. So let me just erase this here. And as you can see, it is actually the same equation. 2/5 x minus 1 was the bottom one. Okay, and we got 2/5 slope. And the top one we just translated 2/5 x minus 1. Okay, it's clearly the same line. Answer A. All right, what do the following two equations represent? These kind of look like they're in point slope form. So let me write that equation and get the slope. All right, so point slope form. Remember that equals y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so I can tell already that the slope here in this top equation is 1. If I rewrite this equation here, all right, that's y minus 2 equals x plus 20. Now, I can take that x plus 20 and put a 1 in the front. All right, if you multiply something by 1, it doesn't change anything. So I can see m in front of the x minus x1 right here. I can see the slope m is just 1. All right, so for the one on top, the slope m is just 1. Now, if you look at the one on the bottom, again, if you want to line it up, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, we're only worried about the slope. So the m is whatever number is in front here multiplied by the x minus x1. See, we have a negative sign. That's basically the same thing as if there were a negative 1 out front. Remember, if you have x, that's the same thing as 1x. And if you have negative x, that's the same thing as negative 1x. So if you put a 1 in front of that, behind that negative sign, it's the same thing. All right, you distribute the negative x and negative 20, or if you distribute a negative 1, it's going to be the same thing. So we can clearly see this slope m is negative 1. All right, so the slopes are different. They definitely intersect. We want to see if these are negative reciprocals of each other. All right, so remember, when you try to find the negative reciprocal, there's basically two steps. You want to flip it or take the reciprocal. And the second step is to change the plus minus sign. All right, so we're going to do that. And we can do that to either one of the slopes. So let me make some room here. All right, so take either one of these and find the negative reciprocal. Let's do that with the number 1. Okay, so we have the slope equals 1, and 1 is basically the same as 1 over 1. All right, I'm just making it a fraction so I can do these 2 steps. Now we want to flip it. So 1 over 1, once we flip it, it's still just 1 over 1, okay? When I say flip it, I just mean take the reciprocal. Flip the top and the bottom, and then change the plus minus sign. At first it's positive, and now it's negative. So negative 1 over 1 equals negative 1. Now, does that match the other slope? Yes, indeed. The other slope is negative 1. The negative reciprocal of positive 1 is also negative 1. All right, so since these slopes are the negative reciprocals of each other, and I just proved it, that means they are going to be perpendicular. Okay, we could have done these 2 steps with either of these 2 slopes. You could have done it with a negative 1 and did negative reciprocal, you would have gotten positive 1. So if the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other, that means the lines are going to be perpendicular. We do not have to worry about the y-intercept. Perpendicular. All right, we have our 2 equations here, and these are clearly in point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So the slope m is in front of the x minus x1. We can see on the first equation, the slope is clearly 1/2. And we can see on the second equation, times the x minus x1 right here, we can see the slope is negative 1/2. All right, we can call them M1 and M2 if you like. But anyhow, let's test if these are the negative reciprocals of each other. All right, once again, you want to flip it or take the reciprocal. And the second step is change the plus minus sign. All right, change plus minus. So you can start with either one. Let's start with the 1/2. All right, let's flip it or take the reciprocal. So 1 over 2 becomes 2 over 1. And then change the plus minus sign. This is positive, so let's make it negative. Negative 2 over 1 equals negative 2. So we use this one here, and we got the negative reciprocal. Does that match the other slope? No, it does not. They are not negative reciprocals of each other, so they are not perpendicular. All right. However, the slopes are different. 1/2 and negative 1/2. The slopes are different, so they're not parallel. That means they still have to intersect. Okay, if they're not parallel and they're not the same line, they're going to intersect. As long as they have different slopes, they're going to intersect. Okay, so they're not perpendicular, but they intersect. Intersect, but not perpendicular. All right, last one, we have our 2 equations. We can see the one on top is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So the slope m is the number that's times x. What do we have times x here? Well, there's a negative sign out front. We said before you can make that negative 1. Okay, so clearly the slope m, the number that's times x, is negative 1. And we need to get this in the form of y equals mx plus b and find the slope. Okay, so we need y equals, we need to solve for y. We have 5y plus 5x. The opposite of plus 5x is going to be minus 5x. You want to do that to both sides of the equal sign. 5x minus 5x is canceling. Bring down your positive 5y. Bring down your equals. And you could do 20 minus 5x, or you could say negative 5x plus 20. All right, same thing, but I'm trying to keep it in this form and in this order. Here we have 5 times y. The opposite of y times 5 is divided by 5. You want to do that to both sides. Cancels here. All right, now we have y equals. We have terms added over a common denominator. Let's break them up over that denominator. Negative 5x divided by 5. Positive 20 divided by 5. All right, negative 5 divided by 5 is just negative 1. So we're left with negative 1x, and positive 20 divided by 5 is just 4. All right, this is in the form of y equals mx plus b. So the slope m is the number that's times x. We can clearly see right here the number that's times x is negative 1. So the slopes match. Are they parallel? Well, let's just make sure they're not the same line. Okay, here we have negative 1x plus 4. All right, this equation is y equals negative 1x plus 4, or you can just say negative x plus 4. This equation here, that was y equals negative x plus 5. All right, so we do have the same slopes, negative 1, but the y-intercept is different. So they are not the same line, but they are parallel because they have the same slope. Distinct parallel lines.